Councilman Joe Marino.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Councilman Stoner. I agree with you that the process has been flawed from the beginning, and it is unfortunate. And one of the most unfortunate things I see here today, and former Councilman Zach said, this room hasn't been this filled in decades. But what you see here is the most unfortunate thing. It's actually a sad day for me. I've sat in this room and made very difficult decisions on very difficult things. This being, an economic development issue. In the grand scheme of things, we're going to get through this together as a city. But I've been in this room and seen some pretty horrific things. And the most horrific thing I've seen today was that we have a community fighting each other. One way or another. We have a community that is so for something and so against something that they are actually, I've been dealing with this for 5 months. I've dealt with people who are no longer going to talk to one another in their own community. I've dealt with people that are no longer going to frequent a business in that community. And that is the most abhorrent thing that I think has come from this situation. And the misinformation because of it, like my colleague to my left has said, the misinformation, even tonight, not with a dinner reservation with the mayor, of course, but the misinformation tonight is that people here, some people that don't know, believe that we will be voting on whether or not Stewarts is allowed to do business in this community, which is absolutely false. This plot of land that we will be voting on right now is well sufficient to operate a Stewarts right now. Tonight, if we vote this down, the zoning change, Stewarts can come back tomorrow and open up shop. And each and every one of you here can go grab an ice cream. Because I've heard it's fantastic. I've heard it's delicious. It's even split a community in half. That's how good it is. When I hear about the jobs and the economic development of the city and it being a bigger picture issue, I actually agree. This is a bigger picture issue. And not only do the people that I represent have to go through this madness, Stewarts has to go through this madness. And that is unfortunate as well. The thing that came out of this, you didn't click your microphone, did you, Mr. President? Thank you, sir. The thing that has got to come out of this is that we need to work together and communicate the issue at hand. The thing that you read in the paper from the mayor today was very well written, and I agree with every point that he made. The only thing that he forgot to tell you, and he forgot to tell these people when this issue began, was this isn't about Stewarts coming to Culver. They can go tomorrow. This is about the fact that these people don't want a house ripped down from the next store from each other. There will be a parking lot there. There's 3 concerns. When people say that there's a silent majority and a vocal minority, it has to be naturally a vocal minority. Because there is only really, truly 3 homes that are going to connect to this zoning issue that I will be voting on and clicking this little silver lever. So when tomorrow comes, whether good, bad, or indifferent on this vote, every business is welcome to do business here, but the communication from this city has to improve. That is the one thing that needs to come from this today onto tomorrow. So I will not support a zoning change, and not because it's political, not because I care about any member that was elected here today or elected upstairs, or myself for that matter. I will do it because those people's quality of life will change for a zoning change, not for Stewarts. If the mayor sat here with these people today and asked them, do you like Stewarts or not, 90% of them behind you that are against this issue will tell you they love Stewarts. They will tell you that, and that is the problem. Not because he is a bad mayor, but because in this particular instance, it was poor communication, and I feel sorry.
Good,
the community is against each other because of poor communication.
That's right.
Something, maybe it's my fault as well. I take responsibility just as much as the mayor does, because I should have communicated to him that this needed to happen, and I didn't. So shame on me as well. But this behind me, that's sad.
Thank you, Councilman Marino. Councilman McKinsey, would you like to qualify your vote, sir?
I sure would. First of all, I'd just like to say thanks everybody for investing your time. We need to be more interested in more events involved with the evolution of our city, because the city must evolve. The city must evolve in order for us to grow. It must evolve. I'm the type of person where I have to take what I see, the input I bring in when I study, the conversations that I have with the citizens, in order to decide what's best for the people, because there are absolutely no cities in this entire country that consist of all businesses.
That's right.
All cities are made up of the citizens. And so if the citizens make up the city, then the citizens should be the ones that we consider first. Should be the citizens.
That's right.
Our elderly usually slide out to a quiet corner of the city where they can retire. And if we continue to develop in their quiet corners of the city, well, where then shall they go? So I've listened to everybody's part of the story. I've taken every consideration of everyone who has spoken. I've listened intently to everyone who talked to me, and I took their information and their concern to my heart of hearts. And what I honestly come out with is, number one, Stewarts is a heck of a business. It's a heck of a business. It is going to do good for the city of Utica. I don't care where it goes. It's going to do good for the city of Utica, and it is my prayers that Stewarts decides to be a long-term citizen in terms of business inside of the city. That is what I hope. However, in all honesty, the one thing Utica had when it was all the way at rock bottom, and we're just a little bit above rock bottom now. We're on the way up. But when we were all the way at rock bottom, the only thing we had was our quality of life. Our protection of our police department, our protection of our fire department, our protection of our DPW, our protection of our citizens, to try and protect their taxes as much as we could, and the protection of their neighborhoods. And if we allow any business, doesn't matter what the business is, to come into a neighborhood that has the personality of being serene and quiet, and we allow them to plant their bigger than needs to be footprint into that neighborhood to the point where the citizens become upset, we should listen to, and I'm not just talking about Stewarts, but should we listen to an outside business?
That's
Or
right.
should we listen
That's
to
right.
the citizens?
That's right.
As an elected official, as the person that is elected to listen to the sound of the voice of the people in my district and in the city, I am charged to. I put my hand on the Bible and charged to the fact that I would listen to the voice of the people. Amen. No, please don't. So I cannot be swayed by ice cream. I cannot be swayed by jobs. I cannot be swayed by any of that. The very first thing I think that I am charged, the very first charge that I have to keep is that I have to consider the citizens that live in that city. And the overwhelming majority, now I said it to both sides of the fence, everybody asking how I'm going to vote. I said, listen, what do you want? Well, I don't want the Stewarts. Well, you better have your butt at the meeting. What do you want? Well, I do want the Stewarts. Well, you better have your butt at the meeting. Guess what? The people who don't want the Stewarts have their butt at the meeting. They're the overwhelming majority for the 11th time. So who am I to take every time I step in front of that mic and call myself campaigning? I say that I stand for what the people give to me as what's best for them. I can't go against that. Who would I be if I went against that? I believe the overwhelming majority of the people say they don't want the Stewarts to overlay into the residential parts of that land. They seem to be fine with the Stewarts. If it just took a smaller footprint, they seem to be fine with it. But they don't want it to overlay into those few
That's
residential lots.
That's right.
That's not an unreasonable request.
That's right.
Stewarts, let's come back to the table. Let's figure out a little bit 3 parcels smaller footprint for the sake of the people.
Yes.
I applaud the mayor on his effort. I think he's doing great. But at some point in time, our opinions differ. And when our opinions differ, everybody on this council, I don't know how they're gonna vote, it doesn't matter to me. What I'm saying to Jerome, for Jerome, to be able to live with Jerome, for me to have balance as a council person, to look my family and myself and the cameras and the citizens in the face and be honest with them, I have to say, man, you know, I'm for what the people want. And the people voice their opinion. Therefore, Stewarts has to change their request. I'm not gonna vote for the change in that residential area because the zone itself already spoke for itself. It's what the people wanted. So I'm deciding to keep the zoning the way it is. If Stewart wants it, let them come, but they're gonna have to change their footprint.
That's right. That's right.
Are there any other council members who'd like to qualify their vote?
After that, I don't know.
Any others? Councilman Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. President. During this last 4 or 5 months, like the other councilman said, it's been a fiasco, finding out little things here and there. And they're trying to find the process. And I met with all the people from Allen and Monroe Street. I even broke bread with them as well. Just to see what they want. I talked to George or Chuck Marshall and got his point of view. And I asked him to make it smaller. He did make it smaller by pumps, but not by square footage. And so like Councilman McKinsey, the same concept, make it smaller, put it on the footprint. But then Chuck Marshall did say something that affected me a little bit. He said, well, if I put it on the blueprint, then I'm going to be very close to the pink house, Luigi's house, a lot closer than if I tore that house down, I have 75 feet away from the next house. He also said he would take care of the water of Megan and Wickman's house, all the water problems as well. So with that said, I mean, me as a city councilman at large, I was elected by the people of the city, but also listen to the people as well. It's going to be a hard decision for me, and I still haven't made that decision yet, so I'm going to go carry on the jack, so you got it.
Ecumenical, you have the floor.